there are lines that are being crossed that you can't go backwards on.
Son of a.
Son of a.
Son of a. Son of a. Son of a.
Son of a.
Son of a.
Are you
Are you
serious?
Are you serious?
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are going to do something we have never done before. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I was apprehensive because of the amount of work it takes just in the edit portion. So we are going to react to a movie. This movie is called The Arroyo. It's brought to us by the Daily Wire Plus. And so if you're a Daily Wire Plus subscriber, you can go in and watch the full video. Or if you're a member of my Patreon, you can watch me reacting to the full video. But for YouTube purposes, we've cut this down to stay within the laws of the copyright compliance and fair use. And so just for those purposes, this video is a reaction and analysis of the Arroyo under the fair use doctrine for commentary, criticism, and educational purposes.
I never cared much where a man came from. Guess growing up on the border taught me that. Army did too. Everybody comes from somewhere. That's a fact. It's only where a man is that matters. Where he is and where he's going. And by what means he travels in between.
I really love that quote. It's only matters where a man is and where he's going, because if you take that as simplistic as it is, just those words, you'll realize that your past doesn't really matter. It's where you are today and where you're going. Don't let your past define your future. Don't let your past drag you down. Don't let things that you've done that you're ashamed of change the course of where you should be going and where God's intended you to go. Very powerful stuff.
It concerns me that you would let something like this happen. Don't run away. Don't run away now. You could have ran away when I was in the other room. But who puts their family in that kind of danger?
Wow. So we hear the gunshots. We see him walk in and see the guy and says, "Don't run away." And I'm curious, when he pulls his hand away and starts talking to him, why he's bleeding out of his neck, because you don't see anything. In my mind, I'm like, did he get shot by those gunshots? Because I think that those gunshots were intended for the room he just came from. And then you see the ring that is like not really a nail, but not really a knife. But when you put the force, could not imagine the feeling of grabbing somebody knowing that that's going through their neck. That's pretty gruesome. That is setting the stage for what kind of character this guy is, and what kind of I don't know if character he has is really the right choice of words, because for you to be able to do that, you probably don't have very much of it.
Is that all of them?
All I seen. The others might not have got out.
Well, they will if we don't get that fence back up.
You want me to stay in heavy with the fence?
Do like I told you.
Yes, sir.
My wife and I would love for our children to just say yes, sir, and do as we ask. There's something to be said, not just for the way that your children interact with you, but also in situations like my grandparents had a dairy farm, and I spent some multiple summers in a row there, before my grandpa had cancer and couldn't farm anymore. And if you don't pay attention, if you don't react and follow directions just as they are given, it can oftentimes be the difference between life and death. And Arizona has snakes. Anytime you're dealing with cattle, that you could be pinned against a fence, barbed wire or not, or between two cows, or kicked or stepped on, and you could be hurt significantly, while it's a longing desire for parents to have their children act like that when no one is watching. It's one thing when you're out in public and people, and they act appropriately. It's another thing when it's just you or them and they do it. And I love the picture being painted, not just because of the respect and the way that it should be, but because it's also setting the table for that safety, that security, that lifestyle. I'm not sure what the significance is of the stuff in the tree, um, but immediately when I see where he found that body in that like little ravine, my guess is that that is just a natural place where things collect in between my house and my neighbor's house. Trash, I'm cleaning it at least once a week. But when I think back to my grandpa's dairy farm, they had dug out a place like that, which is where they burn their trash. And so that was intentional so that it wouldn't get blown all over the place. And it was a safe place to burn where it protected the neighbors and from ash and fire and the trash getting out before it was ready. We just would throw it there, and that's where we would burn things. So when you live within the city limits, when you live within society, your mind goes to places where you just accept that you put your trash on the curb, and you can separate the recyclables from the non-recyclables, and someone will pick it up, and you don't ever really even think where it goes once it's thrown in the truck. But on the farm, it's different, and you don't have access to some of those things. And even if you did, it's not very cost effective because they charge extra to come all the way out there. So um now my guess is that we're painting a picture of people trespassing on his land and dirtying it up and trashing it and not being respective of the property of nature in itself. But the fact that there's a body there and he paid respect to it makes me wonder how often that happens, and why I mean, obviously he just found it, but do you get the law involved, or what exactly is going to happen? And does he care about where the body came from?
You alone? You alone? ¿Qué pasa?
Lost.
Yeah, I guess you are.
How scared would you be if you were a woman in lost, I would assume, with only a backpack, hiding under a tree, and some stranger comes up and doesn't even necessarily speak your native tongue? Is the person that's dead feet away part of her party? And does that add to it? Does she think he's going to kill her? He's got a loaded gun with him. Granted, he took his hat off, but what does that mean to you? What would it, I mean, culturally, that means different things. It's not necessarily a welcome sight, but at the same time, he's not raising his gun at her, I suppose. I paused it a little too soon, apparently, because there's what appears to be drugs in her backpack. Or maybe it's just brown sugar.
I guess they make you carry this to get across, huh?
So He does call the cops after he gets her water, but I wonder if there's anything said or done about the body, not just her.
Did you find any drugs on her?
Just looking for work, like either one of us might do.
Yeah. Looks like that boy died of heat exhaustion. No sign of a crime.
Nope.
Why would he lie about there not being any drugs?
You ever run across a tree with women's underpants hanging from it?
Sure have. Trophy trees. What am I supposed to do, Ed?
I feel like I spend all my time and half my money mending fences, fixing busted water lines, chasing loose cattle.
Imagine being a farmer or a rancher and your time is spent cleaning your land off of others, finding bodies, and now finding out what that tree represents. It's one thing when you go through those instances with just yourself, but it's compacted when you have a family and the safety of your family is in question. At some point, the only way, like the symbolism as well as the sheer just common sense, is to burn, because you're not going to be able to get everything out of the tree in the first place. You're not going to cut the tree down because the amount of work it's going to take in your middle of nowhere. But at what risk of a farmer in such a dry, arid place is lighting that tree on fire and risking brush and other small plants and stuff to catch on fire? And what can that spread as well? Also, the people that did it, are they going to be able to see it? It's at night. So as we shift here to the homestead, it's important to note that how low the water is, and that's not just an observation. You can tell that there used to be a dock there. And so it's got to be at least 10 feet lower than it's supposed to. And if it was is where it's supposed to be, then the water would be all the way up against the house, which brings to me two things. Why would you build something so close to the water? Like, we're talking feet from the corner of that house. And how long has there been a drought, and how is that affecting their lifestyle as well? So there's many things that we're trying to set, I guess, where they live, of why did they build it so close to the water, and how long has the water been gone?
Hello? No need to get dressed up on my account.
Damn it, Weatherford. You know better to come sneaking around here.
Sneaking hell. You've been watching me drive up for 2 miles.
That's important to note also. Like, the lines are intentional, and it's, hey, you snuck in, and I've got a shotgun in your face, letting you know what kind of area that they're in, or what rights they feel they have in that part of the country. But also at the same time, you saw me driving up for the last 2 miles. What do you mean you knew I was on my way and who I was?
Over 1,500 in the last 6 weeks. That's just on my land. And that's just the ones I've counted. And we ain't got no problems at all to hear the politician tell it.
I think I saw some poachers in your deer stand this morning. Caught a reflection. Like somebody trying to take a bead on me.
Look out for the cartel. They've been there since last Tuesday. They could see the federal rallies coming from 20 miles from that stand.
So as he's serving him just beans, he's talking about how someone had taken the deer stand, and the reason that they're there is so that they could see the law coming from 20 miles out. It's one thing to be able to see out that far. It's another thing when you add the complex, or the not so complex, I guess, the simple fact that they're in a desert area, and just walking will stir up that dust, and a car coming, a horse coming, any of that, and you're going to see this cloud. So you're getting fair warning to hide. You're getting ample opportunity to not be found or to get away and flee in another direction. And again, this is all just little tidbits that they're feeding you, painting this picture of what this the rest of this movie is going to be about.
Did you hear about that mess up in Phoenix? A whole family slaughtered by the cartel. Hell, ain't nobody going to help us down here. Not Ed Barton, not Uncle Sam, nobody.
Nobody's going to help us when we're in trouble. We're nothing but a nuisance to them unless it's time for us to write the check. And he's implying taxes. All we are is income stream for the government. And there's a lot of truth to that, and there's a lot of people that feel that way. And it's unfortunate that the country has come to that, because the reason we created the country was due to overtaxation, and we should be free. The land of the free, how free really is it? When do you really own your home? Do you really own your land when every single year you have to pay taxes just to have the right to have your name on it? Just things to think about, not again steering you either direction. Where's your stance on that?
Maybe it's time we helped ourselves.
You boys lost?
You're trespassing. We're here to see you off.
Nah, we're hunting, and you're scaring all the deer.
Ain't yours to hunt.
Any more bright ideas?
I ain't gonna take any more drug running on my land.
Is that a threat? I think both parties were letting each other know that they're drawing a line in the sand.
This is the biggest bunch of foolishness you have ever gonna try.
There it is.
Here we go.
So no shots are fired. They obviously know who it is. I'm kind of surprised they stopped him from firing shots at the truck. But what are the repercussions of this? Like there's protesting, there's being passive, but at some point you cross lines, and the armed people aren't going to just stand there and take it if they literally are not really playing by any laws or rules.
I bet you they dropped $5 million worth of heroin out.
Okay.
And that's where we're gonna leave it too.
If they drop $5 million worth of heroin, then they really did pick a fight they didn't want to start.
Have you seen the paper?
What paper?
Every paper. Radio and TV. All of America's talking about the mess you made in Phoenix. I want us to understand each other, Torres. I pay you to clean things up, not to make things worse. If they put troops on the border, it will cost me my business.
The Americans will never close the border.
There's a lot to unravel here. We have seen that in the first 20 minutes of the movie, we just got our first name, Torres, that he is causing issues potentially for the cartel because he went and murdered an entire family in Phoenix, and now it's national news. They're trying to keep all the news out of the news. They don't want all of America to know the millions upon millions of dollars worth of heroin that they're bringing over, as well as the people that are helping carry that over. But then he ends that with what the comment of they're not going to ever close the border because it's in their best interest to close the border, which is kind of the definition of what our government overreach is that they if they fix all the problems, then what's the need of having the government anymore? Who truly is the boss? Because while the guy on the right is talking to him like he's under him, Torres isn't afraid of the guns. He isn't afraid of the muscles. He literally is a badass. And he is telling him the reason the Americans aren't coming down on you because they're afraid of me. It's almost like they're fighting with who has the most power.
I especially would like to thank the county commissioners for their warm reception. I've always felt a deep connection with the community here in Maricopa County. We all agree that the stability and health of the economy of our beloved Southwest largely depends upon the responsible handling of the border region. The recent contingencies that have unfortunately caused many to be concerned about the security.
Maricopa County, of course, is where the sheriff resides that likes to think outside the box. If you don't know about him, you should Google it. He's quite a character. Now, one thing about this scene that is really striking to me is it feels like, because there's not that much public in there listening to him talk, that this is like a run through for something real, and like they've got people planted to help feed the speech, but he's literally reading from it, which means he is either not a very good politician or I guess that's it. He's just really not a very good politician. I'm really confused what groundwork they're laying for his character right now, because he doesn't seem like someone with a backbone when it comes to leading or making definitive decisions.
With all due respect, I don't think you appreciate the magnitude of what's...
Ain't no magnitude. Jim Weatherford's doing it with just one pickup truck.
I'm not trying to stop anything here, just making them go around my land.
So in essence, he has put a target on his back with the people that are bringing the drug cartel and the drug people, as well as the U.S. government. Like, he is sandwiching himself between the two that should be going and stopping each other.
All right, listen up. I figure we'll do best to ride two to a truck. You see something, flash your lights, honk your horn. Whoever's closest to you will come and run it. Most of these people are just scared, looking for work. The coyotes come armed, sometimes military grade. We're not out here for a confrontation.
We've gone from very passive to the incident on his property to now confronting the coyotes, to being recognized by the government as someone who's standing up for his own rights and freedom and his own property, to now the community is like, okay, how can we help? And now he's having to set guidelines. Like, there are lines that are being crossed that you can't go backwards on. But at the same time, it's one thing to go in with the plan of no rifles, not going on offense. But as life and decisions from the other side, the opposition, come into play, the line sometimes moves. How far is the line going to move for him and his group? While there's a lot of older people, established people, maturity in the group, there was also a lot of young kids, and all it takes is one of them getting shot and killed, and now it's a huge issue, and liability and emotions will get charged. There's a lot going on here, just in the thought of them going and banding together to protect each other's property. The other key thing to think about is that he's talking about that they're looking for just the people, the mules that are bringing the drugs in, because they're scared. They're often just looking for work. They're often unarmed. And so there's different degrees. You've got the government on one far side, and you've got the drug cartel on the other far side, but it's the collateral damage in the middle that is what everyone needs to pay attention to and respect. Sometimes I stop these at the weirdest times, and so that quote, I haven't felt this alive in 50 years, and that ought to be worth something. It makes you think throughout your day, what part of those things are just the monotony, the normal things, the things that you don't even have to think about, that you do out of habit, and what things do you intentionally do that make you feel alive? And are you doing enough of those things that make you feel? Challenge yourself to do more things that make you feel alive and those around you feel alive. If everything becomes monotony, are you really living? Are you really living your best life? Are you really living the life that you and others around you deserve?
¿Cuántos hay?
6, 8, no más.
What would you do right now? You've knowingly been a part of the resistance to people that are invading your land. You come home to the lock off your door with the key in your hand and the door still open. Now, also keep in mind that earlier we found out that they can see you coming for two miles at least down the road. So it's not a surprise that you're standing at the door. They know that you're there. And if you turn around and leave, there's a chance you're not getting very far anyway. So what would you do right now? Put that in the comment. Well, we got our answer, what happened and what he chose. And so now first blood has been shed. How does the law work there, where defending, I mean, he actually came to them after his friend was killed, but they're on his property, he's asked them to leave, they're shooting at him, and they're not citizens. So I'm not a lawyer, I don't know how this goes. I bet we're about to find out. But he went from very passive to ramming a deer stand and starting opening fire on people.
I ain't gonna arrest you for defending yourself. I'd probably be doing you a favor if I did. You stirred the hornet's nest.
We'll grab you 20 gauge and a box of shells. Pack you an overnight bag. You and your mama going to stay with your Aunt Letty for a few days, just till things settle down. It'll only be a couple of days. I just want to be sure. If there's trouble, it'll follow me. And besides, your sister doesn't like me anyway. And you always take her side when there's prolonged exposure. Remember what I taught you. It's always loaded, and you only point at what you intend to kill. Don't come back till you hear from me.
What if I don't hear from you?
Don't come back.
So how hard of an interaction is that? You've created a shitstorm. Now, in order for your family to be safe, they need to leave. And you literally tell her, if you don't hear from me, don't come back. Right after the law has told you the safest place you should probably be is in jail because you just stirred the hornet's nest. I laugh because I crack myself up in my head. All this drama that's going on, and the thing that I'm seeing in this scene is that the pitch of this roof is centering right in the middle of the patio, and there's no guttering, which means this would be a waterfall if it ever rains. And then I'm thinking, well, it's Arizona, it probably in the desert probably doesn't rain a whole heck of a lot, so it's not something they have to face. But it's just something during the peacefulness and walking out, having a cup of coffee, seeing nothing but stars, no lights of the city, something that I would long for. My mind goes to, where's the gutters at? Now, as we are watching him climb up on top of this roof, the first thing I thought of is you really, at this point, are a sitting duck because you don't know where they're located. You just took out the deer stand that they were at, or recently did, and killed some of their men. So you've stirred the hornet's nest, as we had previously said, and they're going to be coming for you. But now you don't know where they're at. You don't know what direction they're coming from. You don't know how many of them there are. You know nothing. And yet you're still sitting there in the dark on a white roof, almost like you've intentionally put a target on your chest. I don't know how smart that was. I was about to say, I'm not sure how smart it is to hide behind a propane tank in a gunfight.
Damn it.
In that situation, it's probably best that he didn't shoot, because the last thing you want him to know is that you knew he was there, who he was, what he looked like, because he is the aggressor. He is on the offense, and he did just go into your house, take a picture of your wife and possibly daughter. I don't know if there's a kid or not that's female. I know that he's got a son. So I don't know who else is in the picture, but just one shot would alert him to know that he was seen. At this point, he was just sitting at the table waiting for someone to come home that never showed.
Sir, can I help you?
I'm looking for the chief.
He retired.
Then who's in charge?
The interim assistant chief.
What exactly are you doing over there?
There was a man killed yesterday morning. Corbin all day.
Look, I need to know exactly who I'm talking to here.
You are wasting my time. Don't!
If that doesn't summarize the lawlessness, the care, or anything regarding the law, I don't know what does. He walks into the police station, asks questions as if he's a higher authority. When he doesn't get anything, he just pulls out his gun with silencer and kills the guy who's in charge.
James and Carolina Weatherford. Do you know them?
I guess so.
Does Carolina have any relatives nearby? Cousins?
She has a sister, Letty, up in Tucson. Are you going to kill me?
Do you want me to?
No.
I can't believe he really did just let her live. I mean, granted, she gave him the information to go to Tucson now, which I'm assuming he's going to go use his leverage against the guy. But she witnessed him shooting the police chief, or the new guy who's in charge, even though it was interim, and asked, "Do you want me to kill you?" And she said no. And He made sure to shut the glass door on his way out. Now, I know this is a pretty tense scene, but I'm just going to throw this out there. If the driver had been wearing his seatbelt, even though he was dead, he wouldn't have been able to get his body out of the car and he wouldn't have been able to take the truck very easily. So always wear your seatbelt. He just took a gunshot to the stomach. Is he going to be okay enough to tell the police exactly what happened, or is the only person that can identify what happened the lady that he left alive in the office who's hearing all this? What is she doing? Is she the one that called the police that got them there? So many unanswered questions right now that my mind is just racing. How'd the police get there? Is he assumed now that he is the one that has killed everybody because he had the rifle that was right there? Or does the cop, because he recognized him and knows kind of the backstory, because I'm assuming it's a small community, know that he maybe have shot an innocent man and there's someone else to go after? Because now we've got someone else running through the streets and we have no clue.
Maggie, what happened?
It was terrible, Sheriff.
I know it was. Tell me what happened.
He just walked in here and killed him.
Who did? Weatherford?
Yes. No, he asked about him.
Who, Maggie?
Weatherford. He asked about Weatherford.
The man who killed the chief?
Yes. He just came in here and demanded to see him, and then he shot him.
Why did he ask about Weatherford?
Just if I knew him, mostly.
So what we know so far is that he kept her alive. The sheriff now is in there, and she's obviously in shock and maybe have just told the sheriff, the only one who knows, that it wasn't Weatherford that killed the chief. But the important thing is right now is because she's in shock, she hasn't shared everything that she shared with the shooter. And what it comes down to me is only Weatherford, who's now is in the hospital, knows that this other guy knows where his wife is at the sister's house, and the picture is still laying in the pool of blood that's in the parking lot. So are they going to be able to put these pieces together before he gets to where his wife is?
How bad?
Sir?
How bad is it?
Well, you've been shot. The bullet smashed a few ribs, but it didn't go through.
Hello? Letty.
Carolina Weatherford, would you please open the door?
Jimmy, is that a shotgun? But you need to remember that a man can duck a hell of a lot easier than he can jump. You shouldn't point it at my face. You need to get down, lower, have the advantage.
Nothing screams, I'm not afraid of you, than teaching you while you have a shotgun pointed at me how to use it properly.
If you do decide to pull that trigger, boy, you better make damn sure I'm dead. That's good. Let's not do anything rash.
Sir, you can't do that.
Sorry. Could you dial the number again, please?
James Weatherford?
Who is this?
Lena is unavailable at the moment. You have something I want.
I got nothing.
On the contrary, you have you.
If you hurt my family.
Don't make threats, Jim. I've already hurt them. You should have told that boy to shoot me on sight. I'll make a deal with you. I will stop hurting them if you bring me what I want.
I highly doubt that after you disarm somebody who broke out of a hospital under the supervision of one of your sheriff's deputies, that you're going to grab him complain about pain, and you just say, "Good Lord," and let him go. Not that part's not very realistic.
I ain't letting you take me in, Ed.
You ain't in much shape to put up a fight.
You'll kill him if I don't show.
Show where?
I'll tell you that. You send your boys, I'll never see my family again for a
God's sake, Jim, look around you. He's already killed 4 people since sunrise this morning. 2 law enforcement. You think he's just gonna let Jimmy and Lena go?
I have yet to see a movie in my life or a story that I've read or anything where there's a man sitting in a room filing his ring to sharpen it for the next round that he's about to go through.
Where's Jimmy?
They're waiting for you at the Arroyo. He wants to be able to see you coming.
Did he hurt you?
Leslie's dead.
Did he hurt you?
No.
You ever been to Mexico? Looks just like this. Same land, same sky, just a different name on the map. Everybody wants to be here. You ever wonder about that? You don't see people rushing to get to the other side. People want what you have. What do you think?
I think I should have killed you when you first knocked on that door.
I like that kid. I think I killed you when you first walked through that door. I mean, what does he have to lose? He's like about who knows if he's going to live or not, but he's not cowering. He's not writing. He's not crying. Who knows what I'd be doing, but I love his tenacity.
Tranquilo, tranquilo. ¿Entiendes? Gonna need that pistola. What's this?
Bag full of dope. Picked it up about a half-mile back. You boys dropped it when I scattered them about 3 weeks ago. I don't know what it's worth. Figure a whole lot more than what you're getting paid for this. All of you. Why don't you just pick it up, be on your way?
It's a good thought. Unfortunately, my employer is sitting in the truck.
Well, I guess it's a little late for things to start going my way in this deal.
Certainly hasn't been your day, has it?
So, how do we do this?
Just like that? You're not gonna ask me to let your boy go?
If you're a man of your word, I won't have to ask.
It will not be a pleasure killing you, James Weatherford.
Again, always wear your seatbelt. He wouldn't have had access to that truck if the driver would have been wearing a seatbelt. I had no clue the sheriff was sitting up there in the mountains with a rifle on him. That would probably help a little bit of his confidence, but not by much.
What are you doing?
Renegotiating my contract.
Dad.
Hey, son.
All that, and he dies in the end? That I was not expecting. So, what did you think? I know you've only got bits and pieces, but if you'd like to access to the full thing, you can hit it up in the Patreon channel or the subscription to Daily Wire Plus, which I think they've got 40% off going right now. So, in reality, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Being the first one, I haven't really been rating movies much, and it's going to be tough to get up in the 8s and 9s. So, we're going to give this a 7.3. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching.